Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to yet another Destiny 2 video, and today I'm going to be composing a list of the best weapons from the Faction Rally event. Now for those of you who don't know, the event does end tomorrow, meaning that you will no longer be able to grind for those hard-earned tokens and ultimately hand them in for the weapons and items that you so desire. Now I was lucky enough to actually get each and every one of the weapons from the entire Faction Rally, which total 12 weapons. I've also had ample time to use every single one of them, and I feel confident that I can tell you guys which ones I like very much and are good for PvP, and which ones you should just throw in the vault for now and not really worry too much about. Without further ado guys, let's get right into this list. We're going to start things off with Future Workout, which arguably has the best weapons for offer, and we're starting things off with the Number. This is on an auto rifle that I already covered in a video entirely based on this weapon. If you want to check it out, it'll be in the top right of this video screen right now. You can click that little text and watch the full review of the weapon. Now I would honestly rank this as the second best auto rifle in the game. I know that's a little bit controversial. Some people might not agree with me, some might. It really depends, and at the end of the day it doesn't really matter. My point is that it's a top tier weapon because of its weapon design. It's basically a Uriel's Gift minus the high caliber rounds. And what is in place of the high caliber rounds on this weapon, you may ask? It is high impact reserves. Basically what that perk is glass half full from Destiny 1, where the second half portion of your magazine will do bonus damage compared to the first half of the mag. So if you're somebody who wants to use this weapon and does like it a lot, you have to kick the habit of constantly reloading after a kill. That's something that I have a massive problem with. Every single time I use an auto rifle, after my first kill I just have a habit of just reloading instantly, but with this weapon you very much have to be conscious of not reloading because you're going to do more damage in the second gunfight that you get into. It's an Omolon based weapon. The design itself is exactly the same as the Uriel's Gift, so the stability, the range, the impact, rate of fire, all that stuff is going to feel almost identical to the Uriel's Gift. Now if you're comparing both of them side by side, the only difference, like I mentioned, is that Uriel's Gift has high cal and this has high impact reserves, and the other base difference that I can notice is that it almost feels like this weapon has a little bit less recoil compared to the Uriel's Gift. Now I don't know if that's the high caliber rounds that maybe give the Uriel's Gift more recoil. That's definitely possible. From a logistical point of view, it does sound like high caliber rounds should be a perk that makes the weapon recoil more, because obviously the rounds are heavier and stagger your opponents, so that is something that definitely could make sense. But that's just one of the things that I noticed from using this weapon, and then after using the Uriel's Gift, it looked like the recoil pattern was a little bit more manageable and definitely easier to read. Surprisingly, a lot of people don't know this, but handling is directly correlated to the amount of flinch that you are taking. That's something that people just don't know of, and even though I was going to include that in a future video where I talk about all these PvP tips that I have for you guys, I wanted to include it in this video here because it's very relevant to this weapon. The handling is absolutely fantastic, and as you can see in this clip here, I'm getting shot at, but my reticle is simply not even moving. It's ridiculous how much handling this weapon has and how much, high caliber rounds and flinch doesn't affect me, which is very beneficial in 1v1 gunfights because it means that you do have a significant advantage. So that's one thing that I very much like about this weapon. The handling is great, which means your reticle isn't bouncing all over the place when you're getting hit with a scout or any kind of weapon in general. Now that leads me onto the second weapon very perfectly, and that weapon is the Dire Promise. This is a weapon that everybody has been sleeping on, including myself, but right now it is my favorite weapon in the game by far. It reminds me a lot of like a very unique hand cannon. If I could relate it to anything, it would be the Last Word. Obviously it's very different than the Last Word, but it has the exact same weapon model and it shoots very unique compared to other hand cannons. Now the reason why I segued from handling onto this weapon is because this hand cannon has a crap ton of handling, and it honestly feels like flinch does not affect you. It's almost like it's completely out of the equation with this hand cannon. Someone could be shooting at you and it would not affect you whatsoever, which makes it perfect because you're more calm under stressful situations in 1v1s. Your recoil's not bouncing all over the place, and that'll help you land those shots on the head very simply and easily. I don't want to be one of those guys that overhypes a weapon and just, claims it to be the best, but I'm sorry, I'm going to do that right now, guys. I seriously think this is the best hand cannon in the game. And I know that's a serious statement. A lot of people might have differing opinions. A lot of you right now probably in the comments are saying, what about the Better Devils? What about the Old Fashioned? What about the something skate? I can't for some reason think of the name right now, but there's a lot of good hand cannons out there. overall, I do think hand cannons and pulses are a little bit underpowered compared to scouts and autos. Not by a lot, I think they're just a little bit underpowered, but this weapon right here just changed my opinion on hand cannons in general. Now, I don't think the other hand cannons are as good as this one because of one simple fact, and that is hit registration. For some reason, when I use a Better Devils, or any other hand cannon for that matter, I cannot land shots consistently. Like, if you tell me to, if you give me a Better Devils and tell me to hit 4 headshots as quickly as possible at medium range, one of those bullets for some reason is just going to miss every single time. Now, sure, I might be off my game, I might not be aiming correctly, whatever the case may be, but it feels like this weapon just does the work for you almost. I think it either has a bigger hitbox, it might have more aim assist, it might have better hit registration. There's something about this weapon that makes it different than all the other hand cannons in terms of the way that you can land bullets consistently. I don't know what that is at this moment in time. I haven't found the official stat sheet for this weapon on the internet yet. I was checking Reddit and a whole bunch of other places. Maybe that info will come very soon and we can kind of figure out what perk or what stat is making this weapon feel so good and crispy, but it's just it's my favorite hand cannon right now. It's so good, and I was using this all on stream the last 2 days, and every single time I got a 2-piece or 3-piece, it would just make me feel incredible because hand cannons don't feel this good in Destiny 2 other than this weapon right here. I recommend you guys get this, try it out, and let me know what you think. I personally rock the top 3 picks that you can do for the perk tree. Don't use any of the bottom ones, even though they give you more range. Handling, like I said, is very important in this game. Finally, we have the Pleiades Corrector. This is a scout rifle from the Future War Cult faction, and by now, if you guys haven't noticed that Future War Cult has the best weapons, now's the time to realize. So personally, I use the second scope, but it is obviously preference. You can use either one that you prefer. The reason why I use that one is just because it gives you a long range sight, and I feel like scout rifles obviously are meant to be a long range weapon, and that scope gives me a little bit more confidence to take on people at a further distance, and it's not too zoomed in at the same time, so it reminds me a lot of an ACOG, which is just right for scout rifles. Now, the 2 perks that it has are fantastic. The first one being high caliber rounds, which is pretty meta right now for scout rifles. I think high caliber or explosive rounds is almost an essential if you want to compete with a Might and Multi-Tool or other legendary scouts that have those 2 perks. And then another perk that it has is Rampage. Rampage is a fantastic perk that's seen on weapons like the Origin Story. Basically, every single time you get a kill, you can reload the weapon, and that will give you bonus damage for a short period of time. And I believe it can stack up to 3 times as well, which is just absolutely ridiculous. So a scout rifle with those 2 perks, I think, is probably going to be the best legendary scout in the game, and it's very close to becoming the best, right behind the Might and Multi-Tool. If anything, it'll give the Might a run for its money. This is an Omelon scout rifle that's very reminiscent of the Hungjury from Destiny 1. That was a fantastic PvE weapon, and it has that same sort of feel, which is fantastic. I know a lot of people love the Hungjury in D1, so if you're unsure whether or not you should pick up this weapon, it feels very similar to that, and that might sell you on this specific scout. But that's going to do it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Obviously, there are more weapons that, some people might enjoy using from the faction rally, but these are the 3 that I personally think every single person must pick up. And yeah, that's gonna do it for the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, a like rating would be very much appreciated. Subscribe for more daily Destiny 2 content. Have yourselves a great day, and I'll see you all later. Peace.